president had in audience on Tuesday the Catholic Bishop Conference of Nigeria. They paid him a courtesy visit. They were headed by Most Reverend Matthew Ndagoso, who is the Archbishop of Kaduna. And while at that meeting, the president spoke of the state of the nation, spoke about some of his strides, his policies, how they're impacting Nigerians. But some parts of what he said turned out to be getting more of the attention than others. I'm going to let you take a listen to that for yourself in this audio clip.
Afraid of their own shadows. All is fair in politics, and it's equal opportunity. INEC you mentioned are neutral. They've never intimidated anybody. If political opponents are crying wolves, maybe they are afraid of their own shadows and the uncertainty in the companies they keep. Not me.
All right. All is fair in politics. I remember thinking when I heard that line, like, does the president really know the terms in which this line is usually used? The original statement, by the way, is all is fair in love and war. And just to be sure that I wasn't tripping, like the Americans would say, I wasn't thinking too much into it, I asked an AI assistant to explain to me what that phrase meant, the original phrase, and what it means when a politician or a president, for that matter, says all is fair in politics. Take a listen to some of the things that this AI assistant told me. Now, the saying all is fair in love and war means that in matters of romantic love and in warfare, people often believe that actions which would normally be considered dishonest, ruthless, or morally questionable are acceptable if they help achieve desired outcome. For example, it says, in war, deception, ambushes, espionage, and strategic manipulation have long been accepted as legitimate military tactics. In love, on the other hand, the phrase has been used to excuse things like pursuing someone aggressively, competing with rivals, or taking bold risks to win someone's affection. And then it goes on to say that the idea itself is much older, even though the earliest known use was in the 1850 novel by Frank Fallet, an English novelist, Frank Edward Smedley. It then explains further to say that the phrase is usually understood as an old proverb about how intense emotions and high-stakes conflict can lead people to justify actions they normally wouldn't, rather than as sound moral advice. When a president says all is fair in politics, they are adapting the old saying to the political arena. The intended meaning depends heavily on the context and the tone, but several inferences are possible. Among them are, politics is highly competitive and opponents should expect tough tactics. That's one thing that the president could have meant. It could have also meant political rivals will use every legal or strategically acceptable advantage to win elections, pass legislation, or gain public support. Or that one should not be surprised by hard bargaining, criticism, coalition building, or aggressive campaigning. Now, these are the lighter side of it, the positive side of it, if you would like. Now, when you go on the other hand, this AI assistant says it could also mean deception, personal attacks, or other questionable tactics are acceptable if they achieve political goals. It could mean ethical norms are secondary to winning in politics. It could also mean the end justifies the means, whatever the means was. And to conclude, it says, because the phrase is ambiguous, people can often interpret it through the lens of the speaker's action and the surrounding circumstances. The statement does not automatically mean the president is endorsing dishonesty or illegal conduct, but it can be heard that way, especially if the context suggests a willingness to disregard ethical boundaries. In short, all is fair in politics generally conveys that politics is a highly competitive contest where people expect tough tactics, but whether it implies anything goes depends on the context in which it is said and how the speaker has behaved. This is unbiased AI speaking. No prejudices, no alignment, just AI that doesn't know whether I'm a supporter or I am not a supporter, the way that it is. So having heard this, I'm going to play for you another argument that I heard on television yesterday. It's by, it was on Arise Television. One of its editors was on television trying to, explain what the president said and why he shouldn't have said it. But we're going to take this commercial break. And when we're back, I'll lay that out for you. Then I'll hear how you interpreted all is fair in politics, considering the original saying, all is fair in love and war, which means basically that anything goes in love and war. Talking about the president's recent comments while he was receiving the Catholic bishops of Nigeria, he said quite a lot of things about how he's performed so far, how his administration is doing. But he also spoke about the 2027 elections, the opposition parties, his opponents, and, well, maybe how he intends to come to that battle, that election, come 2027. I played to you earlier what the president said. I'm just going to play it again for the benefit of those who missed out on it. And then we'll take some reactions, one particularly from the ADC presidential candidate and a news analyst on Arise Television speaking on the development. But first, here's the president and an excerpt of what he said during that visit by the Catholic bishops of Nigeria.
All is fair in politics, and it's equal opportunity. INEC, you mentioned, are neutral. They've never intimidated anybody. If political opponents are crying wolves, maybe they are afraid of their own shadows and the uncertainty in the companies they keep. Not me.